right, welcome back to the Resquared Mortgage YouTube channel. We appreciate you being here. You're going to want to watch this video to the end. We're going to be talking about $1 million properties in the Bay Area and out in Central Valley. If you're new to the channel, click the subscribe button or tap the bell for notifications to learn all things Bay Area and Central Valley. My name is Rob Reese. I am one of the owners of Resquared Mortgage. My wife is Lone Lady Liz, and she is the other half of the owner of Resquared Mortgage. We get calls and text messages from people just like you every single day looking for financing of their dream home. So if you are in need in the next 9 to 90 days or anywhere in between, we are here to help you any way that we can to get you financing for your new home. So let's dive into this, Liz. Let's talk about $1 million properties and what that gets you in the different areas.
You'll want to stick around to the end because I'm going to actually show you there's some very important financing things that are part of this $1 million properties that are going to like maybe kill your deal if you don't understand it or you're not prepared right. So stay to the end because I'm going to show you guys how to look up what that number is so you know you're not like looking in the wrong place.
All right, I left it out, so I appreciate you bringing that up.
So the reason why I thought that this was important is we live in this really interesting pocket of California where I always joke we live in Tracy, which when we bought, it was like the edge of affordability. So everybody that we knew that had bought a house in Tracy commuted into the Bay Area and always had the intention to like, this is just a stopping point. We're going to move back into the Bay Area at some point in time. And I maybe know like 2 people that ever even have actually done that. So I just thought it was, but I wanted to share, there's a few things about the Bay Area that I think are, I don't know if it's unique, but if you're moving to the Bay Area, it's important to know. I just wanted to give some examples of like, what does $1 million get you in Hayward versus Livermore versus Tracy versus Stockton. So you can really see what the difference is and why it matters, really. So I'm going to share my screen here. And Rob, if you have any questions along the way, you're totally welcome to ask them. My favorite app actually to use looking for houses is Redfin. And so I looked up Hayward $1 million houses. I put the listing from 950 to 1.1 million so that you could kind of get an idea. Because if you're a family wanting to buy a house, and depending on where you work, it's really going to depend on, there's some things to consider if you're moving into the area, especially if you're moving out. I always think more if you are moving from totally outside of California, you've never been here, and you see like, gosh, this $1 million house in San Ramon, California is like 1,200 square foot 1970s house that needs to be fixed up. But if I go to Tracy, then it's going to be this. And maybe they're only 20 miles apart, but like it's hours apart in a commute. So it really is important to think about. Anyway, back to it. So in Hayward, of course, it's July 2024. So things always change, but the concepts of like how to do your research will always stay the same. So you'll really notice when it comes to this price point, you're going to see in the Hayward Bay Area, it's a lot of condos and townhouses. We happen to have this one that's in foreclosure. That's a kind of a different beast. A lot of times when houses are in foreclosure, if they get to the point where the bank has like taken them over and they sell them on the courthouse steps, you've got to have cash. That's a question that comes up all the time. But you can see like some are houses. And I do think actually that Hayward is a little bit more affordable of an area. Like I think of Hayward and Castro Valley as like different kind of price points than like San Ramon. Danville, forget about it. I bet there's not a single house in Danville that's under $1 million. But you'll just see a lot of like condo, townhouse, you know, this kind of house. This might be a single family residence, but it's certainly really tight close to your neighbors, no yard. It's older home here. This one doesn't look so bad in Hayward, you know, so just some like little 1,000 square foot, about $1 million. Pretty common. You're going to see that. Some places are going to be fixed up, but that gives you kind of an idea of what you're looking at there. So if we jump over to...
So we're talking right now in Hayward for $1 million property. You're looking at about 12 to 1,300 square feet.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the nice thing about Hayward and Livermore, so I'll go to Livermore next, is they're in an area on the lending side of things of what's called high balance, meaning there's 3 different ways to look at it in the Bay Area. There's your conventional loan, like a conforming loan limit, and loan limits change every year. Usually November, December, they announce them for the next year. And they go up every year depending on what is kind of happening in the area. How do they need to adjust things? And it's by county. So that's another important thing. And so it's important to know in the Bay Area, typically the Bay Area is all going to be really similar. They have the conventional conforming loan limits, they have high balance, and then they have jumbo. And each of those different loan amounts, they have different requirements. This is going to be very critical when we get into San Joaquin County, Stanislaus County, Central Valley. It totally changes. So that's why this is important. So again, we look at Livermore. It's kind of similar, to be honest, to Hayward. It's just really, I just think Livermore it's a little bit more, it is East Bay. It's a little further away from the Bay. I think of it as being a little more rural area, surrounding areas. It's still suburbs. There's not... You know, it's not like there's everybody's house has 1/3 of an acre or something. It's certainly not like that. But you are surrounded by more open space. I think I really thought about Livermore because we'll go through these just a little bit. So let's see, we've got a 4-bedroom, 1.1 million. You know, here's a 1,400 square feet. That looks cute. $1 million, another 1,100, 975. So there's certainly houses with yards in Livermore that look a little bit nicer than in Hayward, where they were mostly condos. Definitely there's condos in Livermore. So that's condos and townhouses. There's some big complexes there, but you're probably going to be able to get more into a house in Livermore. These are pretty cute. This area in Livermore, these townhouses. So again, Livermore is that Alameda County. So you're going to have jumbo options, high balance options, and conventional lending options. Now, there's not going to be as many houses. So let's just say, I'm going to change some numbers on here for a minute. Let's just say you're a pre-approved first-time home buyer and you're pre-approved up to 650. Or like I got somebody this last week, I had somebody that she wants to stay in the Hayward area. She can't get qualified for more than 300,000. And I'm like, well, here's the deal. It's not going to probably happen for you in that area. So in Livermore, we've got a couple. So we look at this 2-bedroom, 1 bath for 625. Here's another 2-bedroom. Like, it's just really condo territory. It's not impossible. They're just condos. So if you look at these, something you're going to want to really pay attention to when it comes to condos is if they have an HOA or how much that HOA is. Think of it like this is an extra cost that if you buy a single family residence, you're not going to have this cost. So you might get approved for, like, let's say your max approval is $525,000 for a single family residence. If you're looking at a condo and they have an HOA for $388, you're not qualified for a $525,000 condo because you've just added this $388 expense. Makes sense? Okay, so now I'm going to show you Tracy. Okay, so we're just going out a little bit further east. From Livermore, it's about, I don't know, Rob, what do you think, 15 miles to from Livermore to Tracy?
Yeah, I'd say about that.
Yeah, so this one, the reason why I thought about Livermore in the equation is in Livermore, there's Lawrence Livermore Labs and Sandia Labs, and we have a ton of people that live in Tracy that work at Sandia and Lawrence Livermore, and I'm sure that many of them come from out of the area. And they're seeing the prices of homes in Livermore and what they can get if they just go to Tracy, just 15 miles. Why wouldn't I go 15 miles and I get like, 1,000 more square feet in a house? And so there's a lot of people out here that commute into Livermore. The biggest thing to know if you're working at the lab, driving into Livermore from Tracy, is that your commute's probably going to be an hour, depending on the time of day. If, it's a Saturday, if we left right now and drove to Livermore, it would take us 15 minutes to get there, 20 minutes maybe. Probably 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, it'll take you a good hour. So just something to think about. But you can also see, like, look at this $1 million house that has 3,200 square feet. Like, that's a house with a yard. And this one right here, it's on an entire acre, and you get $1 million house, right? Oh, it looks like this one's in foreclosure. We might see some of those pop up more, especially in this economy with people not being able to afford house payments as much. There's lots of new home builds out here, new construction. The thing that's important to remember about new construction is they have pretty high Melrose, so the taxes are going to be higher. But look, that's a whole entire house for $1 million, 2,400 square feet. Mountain House actually is over here, if you can see on my screen. They're going to have a little bit higher price points in Mountain House. Tracy has been around for a long time. So they have their like original core part of Tracy, that old downtown. That's in Tracy because it's an old town, and there's little houses around that area and different generations of houses throughout time in Tracy. So you'll get a lot of price ranges there. In Mountain House, it's a fairly new community. I mean, I'm going to just say new, being 25-ish years old. So a lot of the houses are going to, on average, be at a higher price point because they don't have those really small, original 1900s house, So, and then I'm going to show you Stockton, and then I want to just talk about the lending, because this actually is probably the most critical part, and the thing that I ran into that have been like disasters from I don't want to say it's the loan officer's fault, because it's not necessarily, but the real estate agents need to know this. They should know it, and it's helpful for you as a home buyer to know it. So if we're looking in Stockton, Stockton and Tracy have some similar prices. Stockton from here, I'm going to say is 30 minutes. Actually,
I would
probably
agree.
more like 45 minutes.
30 to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Depending on where.
Yeah, and there's some really nice parts of Stockton. I know we think about Stockton as being like, oh, Stockton, but there's actually some really nice parts of Stockton. And so you can see here like a 5-bedroom, $1 million right here. You can get this looks like if you're an investor and you're looking for multi-unit properties, like this right here looks like an opportunity. A couple of them actually right here too. 4-bedroom, 2-bath on 3 acres. Like, holy smokes, you get the house and all that land. So that's Stockton right there. So this is the thing that is super important for you to know about the lending side of things, is that in San Joaquin County, Stanislaus County, kind of the further east you go, there are not high balance loans. So if you're qualified for a house in Livermore, let's see, I gotta go here. A house in Hayward that's $1,099,000, so 1.1 million. You can put just 5% down and buy that house. All you need is 5%, and you could buy that house. If that house in Tracy, not that house in Tracy, but a house in Tracy that's that same price point is now a jumbo loan, and you have to have one of two options. You've got to have 20% down payment, or we can do a 10% down payment with the other 10% as a second loan. That's how it is. Like, there's no high balance in Tracy. So even though there's houses in Tracy, California, Stockton, California, that are above $1 million, like this one right here, you can't buy it without having 20% down in Tracy. So that's really important to know. Real estate agents call me and they're in a panic because they've really just been shopping in the Bay Area, and they just decided to come out to Tracy and see what things are like. And their clients are like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I can get so much more out here. And they think they're approved to buy when they actually are not, because the lending limits are different out here. So that is really critical to know. And if you have a conventional loan or an FHA loan, they're going to be different. So FHA loans, high balance, totally works. If you're in the Bay Area, anywhere that has a high balance limit, that limit and the FHA limit are usually the same. So you can get into, if you had an FHA loan, you could get into this house for 3.5% down in, actually this is, let me go back to Hayward. You could get into this house in Hayward with 3.5% FHA loan. This house in Tracy, you cannot get into it with 3.5% down. This is a jumbo loan. So here's the question. This is why I wanted you to wait till the end. I'm going to show you the loan limits so that you know what the loan limits are for each area. So if you are shopping in the Bay Area, or you're down in Los Angeles, Orange County, there's going to be high balance limits in those pockets of California, but most of California is going to have these restrictions, and you're going to have to be able to put 20% down for this jumbo loan in these other areas. So you can, like, a simple Google search is going to take you to a website that is going to show you what the loan limits are. So you just Google 2024 loan limits in California, and it's going to pull up all of the different counties and what those loan limits are. So for example, we can see Alameda County, this FHFA, like don't forget the F. This is the conventional loan limit, is $1.149 million. So you could get into a $1.2 million house, put 5% down, and buy in Alameda County, which is 5%. But look at, you can see on here, like, there's a few counties, right? Contra Costa, just scroll down, Los Angeles, Marin, like all these really expensive areas. But when you notice, like, you think, oh, Napa's expensive. It is expensive, but look, their loan limit's different, right? So if you've been pre-approved in San Francisco County for 1.149 million, it's not going to work in Napa County.
And in Monterey County, it's 920.
Yeah, and in Monterey, and I always, like, I remember being surprised by that, because I'm like, Monterey is so expensive. Carmel, like, no, it is less. So it's really important to know, like, it's so county specific. You'll notice, like, so if I'm going to do an FHA loan, so these are this high balance limit is okay here. FHA is okay there. Contra Costa, still the same. Where was that? Los Angeles, Marin. We were just looking at Monterey. Yeah, Monterey, the same. Here's where it gets so fun. Let's just say you come out to San Joaquin County. So that loan limit is $766,550. So if you only have a 5% down payment, you're looking at more like maybe a purchase price of $800,000, like whatever 800 subtract 5%, or whatever the price is, subtract 5%. It just can't be more than the 766. Here's the problem though, and this is the thing I think there should be a solution for, but there's not so far, is the FHA limit is 656. And so you can't, even if you've been approved for a conventional loan, 766, so a little bit higher than that, so you can get a conventional loan. If you have an FHA loan, you can't go higher than 656. So that just, like, cuts the legs off a little bit more on what you can qualify for. The reason why this is important, and this is why I want you to know that you can Google what's the loan limit in 2024 San Joaquin or California, is that Stanislaus County in Tracy, we're right on the line. Like, we are San Joaquin County, but if you take the 120 and you go to Modesto, you're now Stanislaus County. And if you take the 5, you're San Joaquin County. So here's the deal. When people are shopping in these areas, FHA loan, Stanislaus County, their FHA limit is 517. So you can qualify for more money in San Joaquin County than you can Stanislaus County and do an FHA loan. So that's critical to know. So I think look this form up and just see where it is that you're shopping and what are all of the areas that you're looking in. and make sure that your lender, and if you need one in California, like I reach out to me. I will help you figure this out. We'll come up with a plan. We'll get you pre-approved in the different counties as well. So if you're shopping between a few different counties, let's make sure that we've done the numbers right so that you aren't surprised and your real estate agent isn't surprised when you go to make an offer and it's like, well, that's actually not going to work. So that was kind of my ending spot, but there you go.
All right. Thanks, Liz. That was really informative. Really good to know those numbers when you're shopping. So like Liz said, reach out to us. We would be happy to help you in the certain counties, different counties that you're looking in to see what you actually qualify for based on the lending limits in those areas. So again, we get calls from people just like you every single day, text messages. So hit us up. We'd be happy to help. Reach out through phone, text, or schedule a Zoom call, and we're here to help any way that we can. So thank you for sticking around to the end, and we will talk to you soon.